There's one drop from TOA that I need desperately in order to progress my account. And in this episode, I'm going to get it. This is my rank 4 Hardcore Ironman, Lydia Kenny. I've spent 30,000 hours building this account, and with just one life, a singular mistake, and it could all be over. For the last 3 years, I've been secretly bossing with a single goal: to obtain every pet in RuneScape. No pets are off limits, not even those lurking in the wilderness. I may have failed to obtain a pet last episode, but I did pull a crystal enhanced weapon seed on 148 kill count. We've already obtained 30 pets so far, and by the end of this video, we'll have at least one more. Welcome to the third installment of my Hardcore Ironman pet hunting series. Now, if you haven't seen part 1 or part 2 that I uploaded last month, I highly recommend checking those out first to make sure you're all caught up. As I mentioned earlier, this video wraps up the final set of footage I had pre-recorded over the last 2 years. Going forward, the pace of updates will likely slow down, so rambles will most likely be making a comeback. But don't worry, there's something exciting just around the corner. My next upload will be an official bank video, so subscribe if you haven't already, and if you enjoy this video, make sure to leave a like. We finished off the last video reaching the drop rate for the Grotesque Guardian pet. We are sitting around 3,400 KC, just gotten our 8th Black Tourmaline core, and it was the last official Slayer pet that we needed for the account until they added Araxor. So now Grotesque Guardians and Araxor are the two official Slayer pets that I still need. And with doing all those Grotesque Guardians, we've used quite a bit of scales. I only really use the blowpipe for a few portions of the fight. I try to use the Venator bow when I can stack them, but I do use the blowpipe for a bit of the fight, so I have run out of scales and had to return to Zulrah. And within a few KC of returning to Zulrah, we got the Tanzanite Fang, which means we have about a month before we have to go back to Zulrah. And there is another Black Tourmaline core, number 9. And as I was saying about Araxor, it's officially come out, and there is our first ever task received. And I'm not going to bother bonding up my ult and trying to learn this fight. It seems like it's a pretty simple boss. It's not as difficult as the RS3 version. It seems a lot simpler. And there is my first KC of Araxor. Didn't really know what I was doing. I was kind of just chugging food the whole time because I was kind of just learning the mechanics and getting the feel for the boss. Yeah, well, there's quite a few upgrades that we can get here. There's that new upgrade to the Torture, as well as the Halberd, which you can use at TOB to make it a little safer. There's also, obviously, the pet and the jar. So, yeah, we'll be doing a lot of Araxor whenever we get it and trying to get those unique items. And there is my first drop from Araxor, the Noxious Pummel. Got that on 119 KC. And it's similar to the Bludgeon. You need 3 pieces to create it, so we're 1 out of 3 of the way there. And that's not what I was looking for, but there is the Araxite head. Now, the only use for that head, I guess, is it's a requirement for turning your Amulet of Rancor to the white version, to the kitted one. So I guess that's nice to have for that. But I definitely would have preferred to have gotten the Fang. And still doing our Dagonoth tasks, of course. We've just now reached 3,000 KC on Rex. We've green-logged this boss already, but the bones are pretty good, and I'm working on my stack of rings, so many more KC to get here. And there is 120 million Slayer completed. We have 80 million to go to 200 million. We have only a couple more Slayer pets left, so we're on track to getting all those completed before 200 mil and not having to do some post 200 mil Slayer. And that's our 10th Black Tourmaline core, just before 4,000 KC. And there is 4,000 KC at the Grotesque Guardians. I missed the exact KC. I wasn't paying attention, but there it is nonetheless. And I've been doing a bunch of Warcath. I still haven't gotten anything other than the necklace and the head here. I don't have either Visage. I don't have the skeletal or even the regular, so it'd be nice to get either of those. Right now I'm using the regular Fire Shield, so it'd be a nice upgrade to get while we go for the pet. And there is 500 KC at Vorkath. Well. So We are just about to hit 3 billion experience. I've done the math and calculated how much XP I need to hit it exactly on the dot. So at the end of this kill, I should be exactly 3 billion. Oh, maybe not. I forgot to take into account that there are half XP drops, so I'm actually half an XP away. So we'll have to go get that from somewhere else, and I know just the spot. Now this is where I hit 2 billion XP. Actually, this will be my second time coming here for a big milestone. But yeah, if you jump over this agility obstacle, you'll get 1 experience, and it'll put me exactly at 3 billion. And there is 3 billion XP on the account. We are 1.6 billion XP away from 200 mil all. That is until they add sailing and it goes up to 4.8. But yeah, right now 1.6 billion XP remains. You can see our current XP here on the high scores. We have most skills over 100 mil now, except a couple. Those skills being prayer, fletching, runecrafting, construction, and our lowest skill, smithing, only at 17 million. So yeah, we're mostly finished with combat. We still have about maybe 100 mil XP. I guess if you include prayer, like 200 mil XP total in combat stuff. We still have a lot of free XP to get in farming. With fletching, they're adding a new mini game, so we'll see if that's any good. But right now, my plan would be to do broad arrows. Smithing, I'm hoping they add something other than blast furnace. I've never tried Giant's Foundry, but I might have to see what that's all about. And yeah, I did see something about a construction potential update through sailing. There's some island where you like craft a saw and you put your logs in the saw and you like repair saw blades. So I'm not sure if that's gonna change how I train construction. So we'll see. But yeah, the majority of the skills I have remaining are ones that I think could potentially get an update. And here you can see a graph of my account and on what dates we reached each 1 billion XP milestone. So in January of 2020, we hit 1 billion. And then a year and 7 months later, we hit 2 billion. And then what's that? 3 years and a month later, we hit 3 billion. So yeah, 4 billion is probably going to be a ways away. We do have some fast skills, like fletching could be fast. Farming can be fast. Like there's still like construction, smithing. Those are fast skills. So we still have ways of getting fast XP. But right now we're going pretty slow. The only XP we're really gaining is Slayer and combat XP, as well as just mining at shooting stars. So it's been pretty slow. We still do need 1 more synapse for the Scorching Bow, which we'll need for the Zami pet grind. That means once we get that, we can, instead of doing Tormented Demons, we can go to doing Zami tasks. And here we got our Burning Claw. I've lost count, but that's probably our 3rd or 4th. And yep, there's another one. I think that is our 4th. I think those were our 3rd and 4th Burning Claws. So now we have 2 completed Burning Claws. You know, we've seen a lot more God Wars while we keep going on the Armadillo grind and soon begin the Zami grind. But yeah, here is another Armadillo chain skirt on 649 KC. And there is another Zuck task completed. That's 89 Zucks, still no pet. And I missed the clip, but there is back-to-back Zucks. There's 89 and 90 right there. And no back 3 back, unfortunately. And at 407 KC, it's been a few tasks since our last drop here. We got Noxious Point, which is now 2 out of 3 towards the Halberd. Still no claw, but not quite at drop rate yet. 4 KC later, we got the Araxite Fang, which means we can now create the Amulet of Rancor. So our Araxor luck is pretty good. We got that fairly early. And there's the wonderful animation for creating the Amulet of Rancor. And there's another Zuck task. That is KC number 91. Going to be getting 100 KC by the looks of it without getting the pet. And there's another back-to-back, 92 KC. And yep, no pet once again. There is another Burning Claw. That is our 5th total. So 1 more and we'll have 3 completed claws. We're pushing 2,000 Tormented Demon KC and still no second Synapse. But there is 150 million defense experience. That is the last of the 3 melee combat skills that I need to get 200 mil. Already have 200 mil attack and strength. So yeah, one more to go, another 50 mil XP, and then we'll have almost all of combat 200 mil. Just have magic and I guess prayer left. Just doing a bit of Hoikodal here and there, just like trying it out, seeing how good the drops are here. Got a Hoikodal hide drop. This was before they buffed it to give between, I think, 2 and 3 hides. And we need quite a few of these hides to get the master clue step. So when the time comes that I open all my clue caskets, I want to make sure I have as many master steps completable as possible, because opening up all those caskets, we're going to get a ton of master clues. So yeah, we'll want to get that full Huikodal hide set completed before we open any of those. And there's the soiled page drop, 30 soiled pages on 20 KC. I don't think I'll ever use the Tome of Earth. I don't really have a reason to use it, but we'll be stacking up quite a few pages going for the pet here. And it's about time I return to Zulrah. It's been about a month of grinding, and I'm out of scales, but got another Magic Fang, so I'm done with Zulrah for a little bit. I've already completed the Zulrah log. I don't need the pet here, so I'm really only returning here to get scales whenever I need them. And I thought I would include this clip in the video. This is day 1 of a pretty massive Clan v Clan v Clan bingo. Everyone, for the most part, stacked up a Corrupted Gauntlet chest to open at the start of the bingo. Yeah, we're just sitting around waiting for the bingo to start in a few minutes, and then seeing if we can complete the tile all at once. And although I didn't get any drops, some people on my team did. We got a Gauntlet pet as well as a Crystal Armor Seed. That's a good start to the bingo. And there it is, the Noxious Blade. We now have 3 to 3 pieces to complete the Halberd. Got that on 462 KC. Pretty much done with Araxor minus the pet. I don't plan to keep killing Araxor to try to get the pet quite yet. I want to go to the baby Araxites and try to get the boot drop, so I'll be able to do a bit of Sarachnis here and there for some clues and going for the pet there. So I'm going to be going back to Araxites after this task. Yeah, while we were doing that, trying to finish this task off, we did get a dupe Fang drop. We have 2 Fangs at 541 KC and an Armadillo chestplate on 755 KC. Those are up to nearly 50 million. And we've done about 200 Kriara KC since the last trip. And I'm doing them off task for bingo because we need to get a full Armadillo set. So I'm just spending the entire day doing off-task Kriara. But yeah, we just got a chain skirt on 920, which means for the bingo, we need to get the helmet to be done. And although it's not a point for the bingo, we did get an Armadillo hilt, and that is a unique. Now we have Armadillo completed minus the pet. And still hunting for that helmet for this bingo, and we got ourselves another Armadillo chestplate. And still at Armadillo, still doing off-task, and unfortunately, I started having some connectivity issues, and see here, we DC'd for like a couple seconds, and our teleport crystal procced. So that's probably it for the Armadillo for the night. It's been a while since I've done regular solos, but it's a lot quicker than doing the CMs. And yeah, we got a dupe ancestral robe top worth 155 mil. That is a point for the bingo. And since someone else completed the Armadillo tile, I have now come to Bandos to try to get some Bandos boots, which is another tile. And we managed to get our second hilt. Fortunately, not the item we were looking for. We were looking for the more common, less value item, but I'll take another hilt. I missed a clip for this one, but I did just get a dupe Nile horn from Nex. We put together a mass Nex with the clan, try to finish off the next tile, and yeah, got a Nile horn. Unfortunately, that's not what we were hoping for. We still need the Torval plate legs. Yeah, I won't complain about another horn. That's 300 million bank value. It's been a long time since I've done TOA, and I've actually managed to get some of the more rarer items. I've come back because I don't have the ward, as well as I don't have the light bearer. And if I'm going to be doing Zami, I need to get the light bearer for that to make the method a lot more reclined and chill. I won't have to worry about trying to run around the room and conserve spec. So yeah, we need to get the light bearer and the ward. And no purple on our first raid back. We decided to bump up the invocations a little bit to 200. I've been typically on this account, I've only been doing 175s max. So I bumped it up to 200 since my gear is more than enough. I don't have much practice with TOA, so I'm not quite ready for 300s, but we bumped it up to 200 and did manage to get a purple. And this purple was a unique. We got our ward finally. Since we actually have 2 arcane sigils, one we turned into the arcane spirit shield, we can use their extra sigil and make the ward. This is a pretty insane log for doing all regular modes, no experts. Just need to get that light bearer now, and then all we have left is the shadow. And there is the Aladinus ward. So that is our new best in slot magic shield. And once again, we have a purple from TOA. These 200s seem to be giving us the purples. Since moving to 200, we've gotten purples within like a couple KC, so that's good to see. And we're hoping for the light bearer ring. And I'm happy with that. That's the first light bearer ring on the account. We now have every item except for the shadow. I'll probably return to TOA when I want to start grinding the Desert Treasure 2 bosses, because the shadow is pretty good for Whisperer. Yeah, right now we're focused on Slayer. I needed this light bearer for Zammy, so we'll be going back to Slayer now to try out this ring. Just have to get that second synapse first for the Scorching Bow. And there is Black Tourmaline Core number 11 at 4972 KC. So that's pretty much about right. I think it's about 1 in 500, so we should be at 10 at 5,000 KC or so. So we're about 1 above the rate. And there is 5,000 KC. So our last Slayer pet was the Calphite Queen at like 5,480. So let's see if we beat that. I wasn't expecting to get a collection log from worms, but this was the whole reason I was doing worm tasks, was because I hadn't gotten the dragon harpoon yet. I wasn't thinking about getting the harpoon at all. I've kind of just been doing this task without anticipating a drop. We got that on 2,600 worm KC. And there it is. We finally got it. The Tormented Synapse number 2. Got that on 2,067 KC. Quite a bit over rate on that one. And there is the Scorching Bow. So now it's time to put this to work. There is the Zamorakian Spear, which I did need for quite a while. I only have 1 spear, and I turned that into the lance. So since I've been doing Corp, I've been having to just use the fang on it. So I did need a second spear, but unfortunately the new halberd from Araxor is better than the spear, I believe. And that's probably why the values dropped quite a bit. And we're back to Vorkath, and we got the Dodging the Dragon task. I don't even know what this task was and why it took 662 KC to get. But yeah, I finished that one now. Well, we lost the bingo, but I have returned to Kriara, this time on task, and got a Armadillo chain skirt from a minion. That's a 1 in 16,000. Well, it's about time we get that Armadillo helmet. We did about 400 or more KC during the bingo, and all we got was everything but the helmet. Now that I actually don't need to get it, I got it, so I guess that's how it goes. And combat task completed. Demonic defense. Every task here seems pretty doable now, especially now that they've changed how God Wars instances work and how the drops don't despawn. It's definitely going to make this Sammy grind a lot more reclined. Ooh, a minion spear. You don't see those too often unless you're my account, because this is actually my second time getting a minion spear. I actually got my first ever Zammy spear from minion on 1 kill count. So, ooh, there is another unique, the Staff of the Dead. I am going to probably use that a lot in the future. I hear it's a pretty good spec weapon for the wilderness. If you are getting PK'd, you can spec your opponent and take reduced damage. So I will definitely take that into the wildy when I hunt some of those wildy pets. Combat task completed. Ash Collector. Combat task completed. Demonic Showdown. With just one update, by adding the Scorching Bow, Zamorak has went from one of the more dangerous, least done God Wars bosses to probably one of the easiest and safest God Wars bosses. And rightfully, the Zamorakian Spear has dropped quite substantially. It's sitting at around 2 million now. That could also have to do with the fact that you don't need the Zamorak Spear for Corp anymore, and you can use the Noxious Halberd there. So yeah, the only thing about Zammy is you're not really going to see a lot of pink text drops. Unlike unlike Kriara, where pretty much every drop you're seeing pink text. And of course, as soon as I start complaining about the value of the drops at Zami, I receive the only pink text drop, the Zamorak Hilt, which is a new collection log. And that means we have now completed God Wars, the regular OG God Wars. We've completed all drops except for pets. So if this was 2020, it would be a Twitter-worthy achievement. But now I've got to get all of the next drops for it to actually count. But yeah, the Zamorak Hilt is pretty useful, I guess, for freezing Mudadial. That's about all I can think of. And another Staff of the Dead on 341 kill count. And then for KC later, another spear. Ooh, a Zamorak Hilt number 2. We've gotten 2 hilts, and we haven't even reached the drop rate yet. That is pretty good to see. Ooh, back to back. Get the hilt into the spear. Another Staff of the Dead. I should probably check what the drop rate is on this, because I've gotten 4 already. They seem like I'm getting them as frequently as I'm getting spears. But I don't think, I'm pretty sure they're like 1 in 300 at least. And I'm a little late on this one. I meant to take the clip at 1000 KC exactly, but I was about 9 late. But nonetheless, here is 1000 Vorkath KC. We are halfway, I believe, to rank 1. I think rank 1's at 2000. So certainly going for the Visages and the pet will be well past that. Decided to do another worm task. Despite getting that harpoon in my last task, I decided to go back. I definitely don't plan on doing these tasks long term. The prayer experience is just not good enough, and I wanted to just test and see what the XP an hour was, and yeah, it's just not good. This is going to be my last task probably ever. Although they did kind of fix the worm task a little bit. They made it so the superiors now spawn properly, especially in this area. A lot of the superiors couldn't spawn because of the sizes of the worms and all of the like edges and corners and the shape of this platform. There's a lot of tiles that the worm superior couldn't spawn on. So they've at least fixed that, so we're seeing a little more superiors. And figured I would finally look at the Kriara combat tasks, because I haven't actually checked any of those out. I'm sure there's some I could do. And we've completed a Swoop No More. And another combat task completed, Airborne Showdown. And we're just about 1200 KC now. And here is a little skilling update. We have just reached 110 million farming experience, 90 mil from 200 mil. We are pretty much only doing herb runs now, as well as we're doing our Celestrus trees. And believe it or not, we still have not received the farming pet. Despite doing like 100,000 seaweed, ton of contracts and trees and stuff through contracts, we have still yet to see a farming pet.
Oh, Weekly Tough. Let's go.
And then in the next pack after that.
Oh, whoa.
No way.
Let's
Oh my
go.
God.
Look at that.
Got a pet. The noon pet. We finally. That's awesome. I was worried I was going to go like over 10,000 at this boss. I decided to leave in the uncut audio so you could hear my live reaction. If you recognize the voice of who I was watching, let me know in the comments. This task takes so long. I only have so many hours a week to play because I have work and everything. So if I get a Grotesque Guardian task, I'm there for an entire week. I was progressing pretty slow having to do this task like pretty frequently. I'm glad to see that I've gotten the noon pet out of the way. That is my second last Slayer pet, which means all that we have left is the Araxor pet. And this won't be the final task I do at Grotesque Guardians. I still, believe it or not, have not received a Jar of Stone. So when I ultimately become a collection logger someday, I'll have to come back and get the Jar of Stone, because we're approaching on 6x drop rate. And we did manage to keep the loot tracker completely updated for this entire grind. So we have all 5,600 KC on the log. You can see we have 11 black tourmaline cores, as well as 23 mil in just straight cash, 38 granite malls, which I believe they're worth like 700k each. So it's a lot of bank value in malls there. In Grotesque Guardians, they drop a bunch of ores and bars, so they're decent for smithing experience. I've calculated based on this log that I have about 30 million smithing experience from Grotesque Guardians. That's assuming you use the bars at Giant's Foundry and then use the the gold ore at the blast furnace. So it works out to be about 5,400 smithing XP per kill. You can see in total the tab is worth 374 million. So Grotesque Guardians is probably the worst Slayer boss, maybe rivaling Thermonuclear Smoke Devil in terms of value per kill. But there it is, 31 out of 62 pets completed. And that officially marks halfway to all pets, right? That's how it works. They're all equal amount of time. No, I'm probably past. I want to say I'm past 50%. I have some of the long pets out of the way, right? Like definitely the Bloodhound, the Corp pet. I don't know the DK's pets. Are those a long pet? They're 1 in 5,000. But yeah, I still don't have any of the God Wars pets, so those could be a brick wall for sure. Like you could go 10k plus on God Wars bosses for the pet. So maybe next video we will start getting some God Wars pets. Who knows? And as we do with every new pet, it's time to insert it into our house and let it roam free. And to think there's still so many more to add. It's gonna get pretty packed in here soon. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to leave a like. The bank video is coming soon, so if you don't want to miss that, make sure you're subscribed. That's all for me. Bye.